Señora del Camino, muéstrame la vía para llegar al Padre, al lado de tu Hijo.
Well, hello everyone. It's 25 to 12. I've safely arrived in Granon this morning. Just a beautiful view with mountains in the distance as I've just been having a cup of tea and a pain au chocolat, my second breakfast of the day. So let me see, yesterday we were in Najara, so I went down into the town, and today is the feast of St. Teresa of Lisieux, who talked about her little way and little acts of kindness and generosity. And the vast majority of my experience on the Camino is of people's generosity. There were a couple of situations yesterday where people weren't very welcoming. That happens on the Camino. And so I'm praying for those people because they might not have been having a good day, and that can happen to all of us. And it makes me think of the times when I'm a bit short with people and say sorry to God for that. So what I did though, I first of all said I'm a pilgrim. I'm not going to take this personally. I'm a pilgrim. These things happen. But then I concentrated on, I really brought to mind some acts of real kind generosity that can seem very mundane but actually make a big difference. I went to the supermarket to buy some things, and it was one of those self-checkouts but slightly different to at home, and the shop assistant, she came over and she said, "Do you want some help?" And she was very patient with me and made it look as if she had all the time in the world, and she must have to do that so often with pilgrims, and so that was very kind. And then I wanted to buy a couple of things in like the hardware shop, I mean, not that cost much at all, and he took so much time to make sure it was right for me, and said, "Oh no, this is better, this is cheaper, you don't need to pay that," and then wrapped everything up for me. I just thought, gosh, that's really quite something. And then after Mass, we rang the pilgrim bell. I've not done that before, so everybody who'd had a pilgrim blessing could go and ring the bell. And each person rang it 3 times. Once for Christ, once for Our Lady, and then once for, I think it said St. Peter, a pilgrim. There's a statue of a pilgrim saint. So that was quite an experience. And then I went and found, I was just thinking, I have to remember that things open later in Spain. So Mass was at 7:30, and I was thinking, oh well, gosh, hope everywhere will still be serving after as well. Of course there were. A lot of places hadn't opened until 7:30. The place I found was open until 11. And I was just thinking, oh, I hope there's going to be somewhere to find something to eat, because the albergue was full. I think I told you yesterday, of a big group of South Koreans and a youth group. I found out this morning that their youth group were from the Netherlands. I was speaking to their teacher, excuse me, you can tell this is live, and she explained that they have to do something a week each year, and some go to Rome, but some choose to do the Camino. And she was a mountain climber herself, and so she said, taking a group of 12, gosh, age they will be, could be anywhere from 14 to 17, and so it was great that they were doing that. And they weren't in my dorm, thanks be to God. They were on a different floor, and they weren't too noisy at all, so good on them. So I went out for a meal. That was why I did that. There was only a microwave, and so it's a bit busy. So it was a lovely pilgrim meal. Normally I don't eat meat now these days, but at the moment I'm eating whatever gives me the protein and the energy. Yesterday I burned off 4,300 calories. It was 50,000 steps. I just needed to eat. So I really did eat a lot yesterday, and I've been doing the same. Got to do the same to keep topped up. It was a nice gentle meal, and then back to the room. A lady from America and a lady from Taiwan sharing the room. People don't realise, but on the Camino and the albergues, the dormitories are mixed, and that's just the way it is. And to be honest, everybody's very grown up about it, and it works perfectly well. And again, people's stories, and the lady from America made a very generous donation to Caritas, which was very kind of her. Both of them, it was their first time on the Camino. And what struck me is that people doing their personal best, people saying, oh, where have you come from? I'm a bit reluctant to say, because they're further than some people are doing. Like today, one of them was doing 5 kilometres, she'd been doing 10 kilometres the other day. That was more than enough for her, and I have great admiration for them, so I didn't want it to sound like I was doing any more than that. 5k for them will be like 30k for me. So keep them in your prayers, and they're doing really well. So today, after breakfast, we set off too early in the dark. I was ahead of time, so that's not a good idea. I won't do that again. It's not easy to see the signs, but there were other people setting off early. I think everybody was on the road early today because it had been so hot yesterday. As it turns out, there's a bit more cloud cover. It's not been as hot yet. It might warm up later. It's certainly lovely weather. I hear that it's not great at home, so I hope the weather gets better for you soon. But today was a very different challenge. Shorter, 28k, still plenty long enough. Put in perspective, a half marathon is 21k. The big challenge today was that it was flat and straight, and all the same for kilometre after kilometre after kilometre, no variation. At one stage we were running parallel with the motorway, and that made it a real challenge. I'm used to running hills and I'm used to variance, so just keeping going like that, well, yeah, that was good today. So I'm very pleased to have got today's running, because I was wondering, this is the only day I've got 3 big days of 38k, the others no more than 32 now, I don't think, and this is the only one where I had to run the next day. So I'm really pleased that's done, and I offered it all as a prayer. So small acts of kindness. I'm thinking about what I can do with those today, and praying for all of you. So, Señora del Camino, pray for us.
I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me.